Hi, this is Trepacer. Welcome to my Trepacer Saturday Horror Reviews by episode 3, I think, episode 3. This is for the Horoscope 101 channel and for my channel. Okay? Okay, the movie that I tried to review, I went old school for this review, and I got the Universal Monster Edition, which I got from Amazon UK. Okay, and the movie that I got out of this set, which also just comes in this lovely box there. And the movie that I picked was one of my favorites, one of my childhood favorites that I saw as a kid. I'm a big Universal horror fan, okay, or a creature fan, as DVD collector 1974 would say. It's this man, the Gill Man, right there. There he is. Okay, of course I'm talking about 1954's The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Okay, of course, about a prehistoric creature. And basically, the basic story of this one is a scientific expedition is in the searching for fossils in the Amazon River, and they discover like a skeletal skull of a gill man, and they decide to explore further. Scientist discovers it, and he decides to, after he takes it to this expedition that's further upriver, and he tells his fellow scientists, "Listen, we have this. Look what I found." And they go, "Oh, okay, let's go." And we want to see if we can find, come back. He tells his natives to stay there and wait. And we found it and said, "Listen, I'll come back and we'll go get this authenticated, and then I want to come back and we'll dig up and get the remaining skeleton of it and find out what this amazing creature is." And oh yeah, one other thing, I did see this in 3D. Okay, it is in 3D, and I have a 3D TV now, so I was able to watch this in 3D. And let me just say, the 3D is fantastic for this edition. It looked absolutely beautiful. Okay, the 3D thumbs up for me for that one, for that movie. Like I said, I never saw it in 3D. Saw it back in the day, back in, of course, regular 2D, but it was actually designed back then because back in I think in the 50s, late 40s, 50s, 3D was a big craze back then. So it was actually looks absolutely beautiful. Okay, anyway, okay, the main characters, of course, are you have Richard Carlson. He plays, I guess he's the lead in this. He plays David Reed, one of the scientists. And then you have the lovely, delectable Julie Adams. He plays Kay Lawrence, who's David Reed's, I guess, fiance in a way, even though it's not kind of official. But I guess, they are together. And then you have their boss, played by Richard Denning, Mark Williams. Okay, those are the three main characters, and then you have another scientist, played by Whit Bessel. He plays Edward Thompson, and then you also have various other, I think there's another scientist there too with them, and then the various natives. Anyway, like I said, he shows them to find, and David Reed and decides, let's go check it out, and of course. Mark Williams, who's the boss, really, of at the institute where David Reed and Kay work. So yeah, let's go down there. Yeah, he wants to go, but only he's more of a. He looks at this, he's more of a. He likes to see what the value of this scientific expedition. Okay, he's more of trying to make the profit and seeing what advantage they can take by discovering these things, and where David Reed is more of the scientific, looking for the more scientific angle of things. So after showing this the skeletal remains to these scientists, the one scientist who found it decides, okay, we'll go down there, we'll finance, he'll finance this trip. Let's go down there and explore and find out. We can find the rest of the skeleton and find out what exactly is down there in this river. Okay, so they of course book passage on a boat, And of course, they make their way down there, and they discover when they get back that, of course, the two natives who he told to wait by the skeletal remains, where he found the skeletal remains, have been murdered. Okay, and of course they can't figure out, what they just assumed that wild animals because they're in the Amazon, that maybe some wild animals came and just killed them. Of course, unbeknownst to them, but known to us, of course, it was the Gill Man. And again, one of the other things I love about this movie is the whole atmosphere and they shot it, I think they shot it in Florida, but they kind of it looks it looks good where they they film it in black and white and it looks good. And also I love the music. Whenever the Gill Man makes an appearance, you hear that music, da 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 da, and it's just fantastic. Okay, and basically, like I said, they make their way down to the Amazon where they they try to get more like samples to find out if the Gill Man's remains. I think they come up with a theory about. I think the theory is that if they find some, no, actually they make their way back to the after they make their way back to the location where they found the skeletal remains of a deceased Gill Man, but they can't find, after they digging it through, they can't find the rest of the skeletons. But I think they come up with a theory about that maybe the rest of the remains got pushed down river, and they want to compare the rocks, in the river to the Gill Man's, the ones that were found around the hand, the skeletal remains of the hand, and they figure that way they'll know that this is the same. I think the same. If it's how old it is, and if it's the same, maybe like it got pushed down the river. The rest of his remains got pushed down river, and basically they go down, and they use that as an excuse to travel further down river. And of course, during the explorations, when they go down to retrieve the rocks, you see the Gill Man lurking about. Okay, following them, lurking about, and then of course, the lovely Kay Lawrence, played by Julie Adams, decides to take a swim while the rest of the boys are examining the rocks. And of course, the Gill Man sees her and becomes instantly smitten, of course, and even apes her movements underneath the water, which is in a lovely way. I love the way they filmed that, where you see her on top, she's swimming, doing the backstroke and stuff, and you see the Gill Man underneath her doing the same thing, mimicking her movements, and of course, instantly smitten. Okay, and of course, then the Gill Man makes his appearance known. Okay, and then of course, like I said, you have Richard Denning's character, Mark Williams. He wants to capture the Gill Man and bring it back. And of course, the scientist, David Reed, played by Richard Carlson, wants to study it. And you have that conflict, and also there's a conflict because even, like I said, Kay Lawrence, who actually worked at the institute before David Reed. Okay, you see there's sort of a rivalry between the two of them, even though Kay is with David. You can tell there's a rivalry between David and Mark, and she's kind of, trying to keep the peace between them. But like I say, you have a guy that's more of a scientist, and then you have the guy that's more of a practical, and he's all, he's business, and he wants to capture the Gill Man and stuff. And of course, during the course of this journey, of course, many natives are murdered. The Gill Man attacks quite frequently. Okay, and like I said, I love the sound he makes, and I love the noise he makes. The noise, the soundtrack, whenever the music that cues up whenever he makes an appearance. Da-da-da, da-da. It's fantastic. Anyway, I had lots of fun with this, and I got this movie confused because there's two sequels to this movie, but I got this movie confused with the second part, which is was a movie with a different actress. Okay, but in any event, I enjoyed this movie thoroughly. Okay, it's a great creature feature. Okay, the Gill Man is a nice and scary guy, and I remember seeing, I think on the Monsters, there was one of the Monsters' cousins or stuff, or uncles or something. He was like the Gill Man. Okay, and I remember that. But the Gill Man is great in this movie. Like I say, he's tall, and on the Blu-ray for this set, they show you all the behind-the-scenes stuff. They interview the actors and stuff, and then they had a different actor that was a Gill Man out of the water, and a different actor for the Gill Man that was underneath the water. Okay, and they had different, a crew to film, underneath the water, and filming from 2 different angles and stuff. And this movie was remarkable for its time. All the stuff that they did. The technology they employed to get the 3D and all that stuff was fantastic. And great behind the scenes stuff about the movie on the on the Blu-ray. So definitely pick up this set if you can. It's fantastic for information about the creature, the filming, and all this stuff, and the sequels and stuff, and how they were made. And it's fantastic. Definitely a great pickup for me. Okay, and a great pickup for anybody. So overall, I'm going to give the Gilman. Let's see. My rating is a 10. Up to 10, 10 being perfect. 9 being just about perfect. So I'm going to give the Gilman, which I actually really liked. I'm going to give the Gilman a Nick Gilman, the creature from the Black Lagoon, as it's called. As it's called. I'm going to give the Gilman for the filming locations, for the you had decent acting in this as well. Love the Gilman himself, a nice creature feature who he misunderstood monster. He killed a lot of natives. Okay, even attacked the scientists too, and had a thing for Julie Adams. Can't blame him for that. She was gorgeous, and I'm gonna give the Creature from the Black Lagoon an 8, just for the 3D, for its time, and this was a really good movie. And I think it's only how long was this movie? Not that. This movie was 79 minutes, which is for that limited time. They packed a lot in there for just under 80 minutes. They packed a lot in there, and of course you got the gorgeous Julie Adams, in there, which is an added bonus, of course. And the Gilman, misunderstood, but a great creature. And of course they went on to make 2 more sequels. Okay. Anyway, let me know what you think of the Creature from the Black Lagoon. Feel free to leave comments down below. And this is Trepacer for the Horoscope 101 channel, and for Trepacer's Horror Review, Episode 3. This is Trepacer saying so long and take care.